We're back again with the new Windows 11 computer. What a fail. So there's two parts of this conversation. Number one is the video editing aspect, which is the part that failed. And then number two is the system itself. Let's start with the video editing aspect because that's simple. So I had found a video editor somewhere in the ballpark of 5 years ago that was not as good as iMovies, but it was satisfactory. I could work with it. That was called Mavi, whatever the heck it is, video editor. And at the time I discovered it, version 14 was the current version, so that was the one that I bought. And it ran on Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. So I got this computer. This is Windows 11. I got out the installer for Mavi Video Editor. It installs great. I open it up, doesn't work, crashes. And I did some searches, and that seemed to be a fairly common issue under Windows 11. Granted, the software is 10 versions behind. I says, okay, I'll just, no problem, I'll just buy it, the newer version, because it's probably similar. So I buy the new version, I spend $50 or whatever it was. And this newer version, I mean, you wouldn't even guess it's the same product. It is not just an updated version, it's a completely different product, works totally different, and I hated it and I couldn't use it. It was complicated, it was confusing, and it was full of stupid AI. Everything was called AI. Every word on that program had the stupid letters AI in front. AI import videos, AI export videos, AI brightness, AI noise level, AI noise reduction, AI AI everything. How about I've got a brain, it's called regular intelligence, let me use it and edit the video myself and it'll actually come out right. I hate AI, it's stupid and dumb. Anyways, that aside, could not live with that video editor whatsoever. So that was it. I just became so frustrated with the project I abandoned it, and ironically at around the same time I was able to produce a new Apple unit that had the same iMovies program, and it was a new old stock unit. So I thought I'd be good for years, but unfortunately that unit within 2 or 3 months degraded to the point of the old one. And I think the problem is the stupid Mac is designed to turn into a pile of garbage the second you use an operating system newer than the one it came with. So I was going to leave it alone as it came out of the box, but I couldn't download the iMovies because Apple has zero backwards compatibility for anything. So I had to update it. It worked fine for a couple months, and then it just slowed down to the point where, I mean, I turn it on and I go do something else and just wait for it to load up, and then click and it freezes, and click and it freezes, and it's terrible. That's why I'm back at this now. I'm revisiting this, and I'm remembering I didn't get anywhere. So I still have no video editing solution that would allow me to ditch the Mac, and I need to produce one. I'm thinking what I might just do is stop editing the videos, because quite frankly all that I do is I trim the beginning, or I fumble with the camera to turn it on, I trim the end, or I fumble with the camera to turn it off, and I combine clips, and that's about it. I seldom ever do any editing. I would say 98% or more of my videos are one-shot deals. So I think it makes it a lot more professional to not have the sound of fumbling with the buttons on the camera at the end, but Is that worth all this frustration and aggravation that it takes me to cut that out? I don't know. I might upload some videos without it and see if it makes any difference. What I could also try to do, this is not my preferred way because I think this is super clunky, is I can try to edit with Sony Play Memories Home, because Sony Play Memories Home allows me to trim clips and combine clips, and that's about all I needed to do. So part of the problem with this camera is that when it films, I forget what the exact numbers, I think it's 11 minutes and 7 seconds. It breaks the videos up into segments. There's probably some technical reason, I don't know what it is, but if you import the video through Sony Play Memories Home, it takes all those clips and combines it into one consecutive clip, and you can work with it. So in other words, you can't just open File Explorer and grab the files because they're all clipped up into these 11-minute segments. iMovies is just perfect for my use case, because when I plug the camera in, it does that for me. It takes the files and combines them into one, and then I can use them. So it cuts out having to use that Sony Play Memory Home to get the videos into the computer. And iMovies is very simple, it's very basic, and it just works, which is rare because I hate the Mac. I hate everything about it. I find it so complicated and so annoying to do the simplest of things, and I think that the way it's set up is dumb and stupid and irritating, and mostly because Apple seems to work on the principle of the software is designed to be used one specific precise way, and if you use it that way it's fine, but the second you try to use it a different way it just doesn't work. And I happen to use iMovies the way it was designed to be used, and so it kind of works. If I do video editing on Windows, I still have to use that Sony Play Memories Home to import the videos into the computer, so it just adds an extra step. So maybe the key is just to stay in that Sony Play Memories Home. It's a slow, clunky program, but it does get the job done. So that, I don't know, I'm still just struggling with the Apple unit for now, but that's something to consider, is just trying to do the Sony Play Memory Home. Still need something for more advanced videos, because there are occasions where I do some editing, and I'm not a big video editor person. I like doing what I do on the videos. I like using the camera, but I'm not too fond of manipulating it on the computer. So I don't want to spend a lot of time editing video, but sometimes I do like to do some editing, and I'm trying to learn more editing things. Like I've got a bunch of videos that I produce with two cameras, and I want to learn how to combine them together and have it picture in picture, whatever, which I can do in Mava V14, which I can't get to work on this computer. Anyway, so I have no video editing solution. So that brings us to this computer as a whole. There's just no reason to use it. Windows 11. I actually don't hate it. I hated Windows 10. I think Windows 10 is the worst operating system Microsoft has released. Terrible. And I can go on and on in different reasons why. Windows 11 is no worse. It's a little better. It's no worse. It's got a lot of the same annoyances. The start menu is garbage. Years ago we used to have, like, you could right click on different things and get to different options and whatever. Now that's all gone. You got these basic programs down here in the power button, and it claims I pinned all these things, but I can assure you I did not pin these things because I only use maybe 3 of what's in here. I guess what's replacing the start menu now is that Windows X shortcut, and that brings up the disk management, computer management, my computer device manager, all these things that you used to get to through the start menu years ago. So at this point the start menu has just It's been screwed up since Windows 8, and it's never been right since. And it's just useless. I never use it. I never use the start menu anymore, unless I'm on Windows 7 or older, because it serves no purpose, which is annoying. So that's dumb. And then we got this stupid this settings thing, as opposed to the control panel. It's moving more and more stuff away from the control panel. I just don't like it. It's not my preference. It works okay. It gets the job done, but it's just not my preference. It is very searchable, which I will say is better than the control panel, but I just don't use this enough. Like, I could tell you where everything is in the control panel because I've used it for so many years. This, I couldn't tell you where half the stuff is. I've tried to find things manually, and I find the layout kind of unintuitive, so I end up just searching for all the settings I want, and that works fine. I will say one of the huge improvements on this system is the graphics appearance. The window corners are rounded, the buttons are rounded, and that's the way that it should be. I mean, it's such a basic element of Windows computer interface to have rounded buttons and window corners. It's just a basic rule, and Windows 10 blew that off, and everything was sharp and jagged and square, and I hated that. And you know, when you have to look at the thing all day to do your job or whatever, it makes a difference what it looks like. So that's a huge improvement. It's much nicer aesthetically. But that's really about all I can say for it. It's Windows. I don't know what people are up in arms over. It's Windows like it has been, except now a lot of it looks like the stupid Mac. This system is such a knockoff of the Mac. It's tacky. The way things are set up, the layout, the appearance, it's such a Mac ripoff. It's actually like cringy how bad it is. But that's what it is. Another thing I find that is better over Windows 10 is this has been stable so far. The only glitch I've encountered on this thing is occasionally a Windows Explorer window will come to the front of the screen and capture the attention of the cursor, which is bad if you're typing. You can do some damage. That's happened a number of times. Other than that, I really haven't had any glitches. And when I was using Windows 10 experimentally, I would find that the taskbar disappears, the background image disappears, Windows just freezes, crashes. It was just a horrible, unstable system, and it did not become more stable as time went on. People said, oh, Vista was unstable. It was in the beginning, but after with the service packs, it was fine. Windows 10 has been out for how long now, and it still stinks. It's still unstable. Another thing with Windows 10 is that it was so bloated with ads and pop-ups and everything. Now, over the course of this video alone, we've had 2 pop-ups come on here. This one is related to the previous one. That's a lot better. Under Windows 10, it was like one every couple minutes. And it wasn't that there was like a virus, it was all Windows stuff. So that seems to have toned down a bit, and at least now, like, this is giving me the option to shut it off. So if I turn this off, I won't see it anymore. And so at least now there's a way to pretty easily cut down on these stupid notifications coming all over the screen. There is still some unwanted things in here, but it's not anywhere as near as bad as Windows 10 was. It used to come in with like all sorts of tacky games and all this garbage. This wasn't anywhere near as bad. Now, I did have 2 issues with this system on setup, one of which I don't have a solution for. And ironically, I actually think they're both Dell issues and not necessarily Windows issues. When I was setting it up, I wanted to install Microsoft Office. I have a copy of Microsoft Office 2019, and that's what I wanted to use. And inherently it came with a trial of some flavor of Microsoft Office. I don't know if it was some cloud one or what it was, but it came with this trial, and I needed to uninstall it before installing my copy of Office, which is pretty standard. Problem was, there was 4 copies of this trial in 4 different languages, plus 4 copies of a OneNote trial in 4 different languages. These trials, each one would take like 45 minutes to uninstall, if that, maybe even more. And it had one of those annoying bars that just kept going across. It wasn't like a progress bar. So you're sitting there and it just seems like it's broken because nothing's happening. That was frustrating. Plus, how the heck do you proceed with the uninstaller when you don't know what the buttons say? That was annoying too. That ate up several hours to get that junk off of there. Once I got that junk off of there, I was able to install my copy of Office. It worked fine, but that stuff was not easy to get off, and it should have been very simple. But I think that Dell put that on there because when I've used copies of Windows that are just a fresh copy of ISO of Windows, it doesn't have that. The other problem that I encounter, which is a Dell problem, is with the audio jack. So the audio jack, when you have speakers plugged into the back of the computer, you get occasional popping sounds that sound like plugging in and unplugging the signal cord while the speakers are turned on. And it would happen like almost as if the sound card was going to sleep. So it would play some audio, and if it was quiet for a while, you'd hear a click. And then if you play some audio again, you'd hear a click and then the audio. And that is extremely irritating to hear all the time. And that's actually been a problem that Dell computers have had, certain models, for quite some time now. You can find forum posts going back 15 years talking about these issues. And it's these Realtek cards that Dell uses. I don't like Realtek. I don't think it's a very good brand, but that's what is in this computer. And I'm thinking that it's becoming less and less of a problem for the average user, because now everybody has audio through the display cable, through HDMI or whatever on the monitor. I still prefer to use a good set of speakers that go in 3.5mm audio in the back, but I think that's a very diminishing use case, and maybe that's why it's not getting fixed, or what. I could find forums out there, people complaining about this particular model doing that, but it was not a very large number of people, and I think it's because just nobody cares, because the use case has gone away. But those are the 2 major issues. And again, these updates I'm seeing here, or whatever the notifications, this is all Dell bloatware. So if I took that trash off of there, probably that would go away too. So I don't know. It's Windows. It's very much like it has been. The hardware requirements, they're outrageous. There's no beating around the bush. In short, you generally speaking need a computer from 2017 or older to run the system. And what was particularly outrageous about it was that when Windows 11 first came out, that was only a couple of years old, and that was during a time period where you couldn't buy a new computer because there was a material shortage. And so it was kind of a joke, because the software is written for only new computers, zero backwards compatibility for older hardware, but yet you could barely even buy a computer, and if you found one, the price was off the rails. So that was just a stupid move. Now, as time goes on, those hardware requirements, in theory, relatively speaking, seem less and less outrageous as the system gets older, because now in 2024, requiring a computer from 2017 or newer, and that's, what is that, 7 years ago? at least a 7-year-old computer or newer. That's not as outrageous as 3 or 4 years old, but it still obsoletes a bunch of hardware that there's no reason for it. You know, my main computer to this day is a Core 2 chip at I think 2.8 gigahertz. Does everything I needed to do. And I think for the average home user that browses the web and sends email and maybe plays back home movies or something locally on the hard drive, a Core 2 chip is still good enough. And so there's no reason that computers from even the late 2000s should not still be able to be used. Windows 10, I will give it, would install on pretty old machines. I remember when Windows 10 first came out, I remember sampling it on a Pentium D. That's what I had at the time, Pentium D unit, and it you know, it pegged the CPU pretty high if you're playing a video or something, but it worked. Now as Windows 10 aged, it became so bloated that it pretty much is unusable on anything but an SSD. Running Windows 10 on a conventional 5400 or 7200 RPM hard drive is a joke. It is so slow, and the drive just constantly sits at 100% for absolutely no reason. So realistically speaking, if you want the machine to work well, Windows 10 is kind of just as bad. It'll install on something, it just won't be barely be usable. But I mean, it is what it is. You can get around that. I tried it. It's not crazy difficult. I installed it on a 2012 or 2013 laptop. It was a Lenovo T430, I believe, or T430S, and you know, it was intensive on the machine, but it handled pretty much like Windows 10 did. It just sat there and pegged all the resources to 100% for no reason. And that's what we get when we push systems out way too quick. We get poor quality coding, and it's just junk. So at the end of the day, could I live with this system if I had to? Yeah, I could. I don't totally hate it. I don't like it, but I could live with it. Is there any reason to use it? Nope. And I'm going back to the old machine, because as of now, Windows 7 does everything I want it to do. As of now, Windows 8 does everything I want it to do. As of now, Windows XP does everything I want it to do except for play Spotify. I can still get through the day doing everything I want to do except for hearing music on the Windows XP box. Windows 7, not going to go anywhere anytime soon, because Windows 7 has the same type of following that Windows XP does, and so many different third-party browsers are starting to come out. It's incredible. It's great. So there is just absolutely no reason to move off of Windows 7, and if I have to, I'll keep using this this Dell 990 Windows 7. I have Mava V14 on there. Yeah, it takes a long time to save the video, but I can click render and go do something else. You know, it's not like you sit there and watch it. I'd rather not take all night to save a video, but if that's what it does to save frustration, then that's what it does. So, as always, I tried the newer product with an open mind. It's okay. I could live with it if I had to, but there's just no reason to. And so therefore, I'm going back to what I prefer.